Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, editor-in-chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. Happy you're tuning in today because today we're working on Marsha. I'm up here in Statesville, North Carolina with Dave Chamberlain of All Classics Restoration. Make sure to check out that channel. I'm going to put up a link here up in the corner, that corner. And we want you guys to make sure to check out his channel. He just came back from Power Tour with his grandson Ashton. Did it in a 68 Coronet that you've had since high school, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. So did pretty good too. No breakdowns.
I had no issues. Nope. I drive the car all the time, so I mean, it was a couple of things I did before I left, and
that's awesome.
Ready to go. Never overheated.
Totally jealous.
Yeah.
All right. So he did a small series on doing the Power Tour with his grandson in his 68 Coronet. So definitely check those out. But what we're doing in this video is we're doing a little bit of work on Marsha's front suspension. We're really excited. Firm Feel sent us out their front end kit. We've got new tie rods, we've got new struts, we've got we actually have a replacement steering box we're going to put in. It's a replacement stock steering box because ours has been leaking like a sieve. We're going to see if this solves it, and we're going to show you a little bit of before and after of how this car handles. Now mind you, this is a base model Fury 3. There are no sway bars on this car, so we might not see big differences, but it's definitely going to tighten up a little bit, especially as we're going to new poly bushings.
Yeah.
And we have their new really cool tubular upper control arms that we're putting on. So at least we're going to get a lot of slop out of it. We're not going to be a road course autocross car just yet.
No, it's hard to make one of these C-bodies do something like that.
Yeah, but we're hoping to tie up a little bit of that sloppiness, get a little bit of the float out. So we're going to show you here a little bit of the before, and then we're going to go put this up on the lift, tear apart the front end, and see if we get any difference on the after. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick minute to let you know that we've got the Mopar Connection store up and running, where you can find all sorts of t-shirts and hoodies in a ton of colors and different sizes. We've even got designs for some of our project cars like Zombie and the Brazen Charger. So make sure to check out the link in the video description below. Drive around it.
Drive around it?
We are. Okay, sit back. These things. Float like a butterfly. Right, they do. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See? Big old marshmallow.
Wait a minute.
Side to side this whole time. Oh jeez, there's your phone. I told you. All right, here we go. Ah!
What happened?
Is it gonna make it? Oh, we're in the mud. Let's do one more. She's missing a motor mount on the left. Make sure we don't hit the mailboxes. There we go. I didn't check the power steering fluid.
Probably about out.
Probably. Oh, we killed the engine. Engine's dead.
Probably out of gas.
Somebody out of gas? Got to get off.
That's fine. Oh, there's so much light in this wheel well, Dave. I can see everything.
It's awesome. I'm old, so I need to see what I'm doing. And you just take them in.
Those are original.
They might be.
They're original factory.
No, they're not.
Those are numbers matching. Chrysler.
No, they were too long.
Cotter pins. No, there was a dimple in there. If you knew your cars,
it didn't have the little mark on it. So
that's right.
It wasn't original.
Yeah, Chrysler actually had a specialized mark.
It has a little anchor like the bolts.
That's right. Oh, we're gonna get hate in the comments. All right, so let's. All right, you got the dikes. All right. Well, I guess every cotter pin that I see, I gotta pull. So let me get the camera, and we'll start taking everything apart.
All right, you ready? Here we come to sparks.
Oh, you're gonna. All right.
Bring the thunder.
No.
Is that what he said?
I can't pay him for that. That's trademarked.
That should get it.
All right. All right. What's missing? There's no pin on that. Got the pins off of the end links. You got a pin out of there. There's no pin in that. Well, not anymore. Past tense.
I cut it in half. I like cutting stuff.
Cut it, yeah. It's always easier to take it apart than put it together. Okay, we're doing an update. Just taking stuff apart. We've got our drum hanging off of the upper control arm because we don't want it hanging off of the brake line. We've got our lower control arm just kind of hanging tight. We got to loosen that bolt, get the whole control arm out. Torsion bar slid out, actually really nice. Lower ball joint is out. It was already pretty bad. We've got to replace our pitman arm and our idler arm. Center link is out. Obviously, tie rods are out. And our strut is cut in half. One half is out. This half is pretty beat up. We're going to have to take that one out, of course. It was nice and bent. So don't get mad at us for cutting it. It was not worth saving. So this is the update thus far. We'll keep you posted as we continue.
Ashton, bring me that red wrench next to the vise. Right there. That, yes, that right there.
Perfect. There you go. Now I know why he's hanging out.
Thank you.
Perfect gopher. Well, if you guys thought we were going to be in trouble by cutting that front strut in half, Dave is clearly educating all of us that all it takes is a pipe wrench.
Sometimes you gotta do a little plumbing.
There you go. Oh boy. I was expecting a bigger fight from this stuff, but of course we're only on one side. So I might have just jinxed us. This isn't the best display, but we got what space we've got. This is the full Firm Feel kit. You can even see the Firm Feel label here on the tie rods. And really, really nice setup. And of course, no one else really makes anything worth a snot for C-bodies. And Firm Feel really makes some beautiful stuff. This upper A-arm is really, really nice. I mean, guys, this is a really nice piece. And the best thing about it is that all of this is optimized for a tight ratio, tighter feel. The pitman arm, that's idler arm, pitman arm, excuse me. So the idler arm, which we're going to put on the new box that we bought off of Tony DeFeo, and hopefully that doesn't leak. I'm coming back for you, Tony. And so we're going to have the new pitman arm and idler arm with the new box. That's going to be already a step in the right direction for steering response and steering feel. The angled upper control arms are going to get rid of a lot of the softness. They are also optimized to give us a little bit of forward caster, and so that's something pretty cool. We've got these really nice adjustable tie rods down here, and then of course we've got the new heavy duty front struts, and we'll be supplying all the, or hooking all these up with the poly bushings that come supplied in the kit. We have new eccentrics to go with the upper control arms, and of course we're also going to press out factory lower control arms and replace them with these. and these are absolutely beautiful machine pieces. So that is on the menu for this update.
So one of the most detestable things to do on a Mopar is to change the lower control arm bushings. Today, it's not as bad to do these because the polygraphite bushings that they've come out with use the old shells from the bushings. So you don't have to worry about pressing out the old shell out of the arm, which is the hardest part to do. So if you're working at home and you don't have a press, one way you can get the pin out of the arm is to just drill around your bushing. You just start drilling out the rubber. Just work your way around the bushing until you've got it to where you can grab this pin with a pair of channel locks and start twisting on it, and then you can pull the pin right on out. All right, so once you've got the rubber drilled out from around the shaft, just take a big pair of channel locks, or like we like to use plumbing tools here, and just spin and pull. Out comes the shaft.
There you go.
And then you can just pry the rest of the bushing out with a screwdriver.
Hey.
And everything's nice and clean inside of there. If you feel any burrs, just take a round file and go down there and just file it. Basically, if you're using new shafts, the shaft comes sized to this bushing, so you won't need the sleeve on here. If you're going to use an original pivot shaft, you need to leave the sleeve, the original bushing sleeve, on the shaft, because otherwise it'll float inside this bushing. So the bushings are very easy to install. They basically will just push in, and then your shaft, same deal, pushes right into the bushing.
Well, I think our motor mounts are shot. Those are gone. Let's take a look at the other one, even though I already know. Yeah, that one's gone too.
Oh yeah.
Those are gone. That's all right. We're putting a 440 in it anyway. Hey, wiggle the column a little bit. There you go. Guys, if you can see that on camera, you can see fluid coming out right there at the seal of that shaft, and that is why we're changing the box. It just weeps power steering fluid under pressure right out of that seal. That's good, Dave, thank you. Yeah, so we in addition to some 440 parts that we grabbed from Uncle Tony, he had a steering box that he threw in the mix, so we're gonna see if that one's any good. Hopefully it is. And we'll drop that in, but of course we've got to pull the column back about an inch or two just so that we can get the coupler off and slide it off. We're close, we're real close, we're just not there yet. And of course these things weigh 1,000 pounds. There's nothing factory that doesn't weigh a gazillion pounds. It isn't made out of pig iron, that, you know, the same pig iron foundries that they made the Titanic out of. So one more thing to do to get Marsha running right. The great thing about a C-body is that you can take the inner fender well out, which is just like every GM I grew up with. And I know that's gonna stroke a lot of Mopar guys going, don't talk about GM, but it's actually really convenient. So we've got the column back, we've got this out, and nice thing is that it's sitting on a stud. I don't know how successful I'm going to be at pulling it from the top. Oh, oh. All right, you know what? There she goes. Whew. Well, that came out nice. It's a lot easier when you don't have headers and you have a small block and you can reach everything. I'll tell you what, guys, if you haven't considered a C-body, C-bodies came with 383s and 440s, came with big torque flights. 8 3/4 rear ends, center sections, transmissions, engines, big radiators. I'm telling you, it's everything a muscle car is. It's everything a B-body was. You can still find these cars. They're easy to work on, more or less. I'm telling you, man, I gotta go with C-bodies. I'm really liking the C-body stuff. They look cool. Yeah. If you haven't considered a C-body, I really recommend it. All right, let's change out our boxes. All right, well, again, we were leaking out of this seal right here that we showed you. We're gonna move it over. We're gonna transfer over to this one. Thankfully, this is identical, so we don't have to worry much about that. The only difference is that we got to replace the old crush washer. So we got a nice new one. Thankfully, Dave had one in a drawer. And they don't look much different than the ones you use when you change out your brakes. So we're gonna just swap her on over. I don't know of any test that we can do until we just bolt it on and fill it up with fluid.
Really no way to test the box without having fluid pressure on it, and you've got to have it hooked up with a pump for that. So
okay, well,
just got to keep our fingers crossed that the seals are still in good shape.
I don't have
all right, that's just on there snug. We'll drop it in. Ah. Woo! All right, that worked. Ugh. Let me double over and put this nut on so it won't fall out.
Keep going to the wheel.
Why, when this is so much easier?
He just like having a blood rush.
Yeah. C-bodies are so easy to work on. Jeez. All right, we're on.
Next thing we got to do is make sure that the box is centered.
Okay, how do I center the box? Do we lift it up and I bolt it down, or?
No, I mean as far as turns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we may have to turn it, and then turn it, and then count halfway,
okay.
and then look for the key spline.
Okay.
Because it does have a double
Yes.
spline that's a key.
Well, we got the new box in, new fitting in. We got the coupler splined on. It took a couple tries. And once we go get some grease and a new pin, really the only two things we were needing thus far, we should be in good shape. Got to make a low pressure return line. That's not a big deal. And that will be the end of this step.
Okay, so one of the ways you can get your alignment fairly close before taking it to the alignment shop, if you are getting a setup like this from Firm Feel, it comes with a new adjuster sleeve and your new tie rods, do not take your old ones apart. What you can do is you eyeball up your length and adjust accordingly. So we're gonna spin these in and try and get this close. You want to have your stud centered up. And as you can see, that should be, it's not going to be exact, but it'll be close enough to get you
To the shop.
to the alignment shop.
Yeah, that'll get you there.
Yeah.
All right.
Another way you can do it too, you can take a measurement from your grease fittings from here to here,
Right.
and then measure on your new ones the same way.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dave. It's a lot easier when it's out of the car than underneath it on your back.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get it set up like this first than trying to do everything
I
laying
agree.
down on the ground.
First step is getting our struts in before we can tighten down our lower control arm.
Yeah.
So that we can back up just a hair and get her out. It's going to be muy importante. Ah, qué bien. We're gonna do the rest of today's episode in Spanish. Oh, it's dimpled. Okay.
Yep, it's a lock nut.
All right. Ooh.
Okay.
Drum. Spook me. All right. Should we tighten them down or keep them loose for now?
These can stay loose. Then you
Okay.
can go ahead and retighten it.
All right. Sounds good. And here we go. Okay.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Do you know why the bolts go in that way?
Why they go in that way? So they don't slide out if the nut backs off. It's not my first rodeo, guys. Come on.
But they might not.
Yes. Put them in this way because if the nut backs off, shoulder bolt won't wiggle its way out, and then you lose the whole.
Lose your shocks.
Lose your shock, lose it all. That, of course, will gall all my threads as I beat that on.
That will just keep the nut from coming off even more.
That's right. It's nature's Loctite.
That's it. Just crush a couple threads and you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of guys, there's a couple different schools of thought when it comes to a cotter pin. I've seen guys take a pair of pliers and just fold both of these tangs back over and double it over. I've also seen guys put one over and one down, making a flare or a split. Dave, what's your preference? Both up or one up, one down?
Factory way it was done was one up, folded over the top, and the other one is cut off.
Cut off and folded straight. Left straight?
Left straight.
Factory did that?
Yes, sir.
Factory's dumb.
You only need one fold to hold it in.
Yeah. I do double, just double the strength. But then again, you have one point of weakness. Still think factory's dumb.
I don't know.
What do you? So you follow factory?
Yeah, I usually just fold the longer one up and over, and then I cut the other one short.
I'm gonna catch a whole bunch of grief from me saying factory's dumb. I know it. They're like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. They're like, I know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure I'll get people to disagree with my statement too.
I know.
Nah, they never did. I worked on the line. I know better. I was the one that put all the cotters. I was a cotter pin guy.
I was the cotter pin guy. All right. Oh, I folded mine down. Oh,
I'm waiting for that.
It's not factory correct.
I'm waiting for all that YouTube money to come in so I can buy new tools. You know?
Oh yeah. You got nice Matco tools. My stuff's all Harbor Freight. There.
Never coming out.
That's what I was taught. Well, we hit a snag. Got the upper ball joint. But because I went ahead and skipped a few steps, put some tension on the torsion bar, we tore our shock in half and tore our brake line in half. All right. Got the eccentrics out. Just gonna get the upper control arm out. There we are, hot dog. Okay, we've got the upper control arm in. We had to tap it in a little bit. That's okay. Just about to put the eccentrics in. They're gonna give us a fight, I know that. So we're gonna get these guys in. They give us Firm Field gives you all new hardware. These aren't marked left or right as far as we could tell. We looked all over, we just didn't see any markings. So we had to measure them up against the factory stamped control arms, or the upper A arms, excuse me. But yeah, we'll get these guys in and go from there. Okay, so there's a couple tricks to getting the Firm Field tubular upper control arm in place. Number one, whatever you do, start with the rear one. I spent a half an hour trying to get this eccentric in with the front one in. It drove me crazy. So I finally took this one out. I was able to wiggle this one in without a hammer, without beating on it, and it went in nice. And as soon as it was able to go in, I could slide the front one in. I don't know the geometry. I'm just saying, guys, start with the rear one. Do yourself a favor, learn from my mistakes. Number 2 is that these are not marked left and right. At least we couldn't find where it said left and right, so we had to basically guess. The way to make an educated guess is to take the upper control arm and lay it on top of the factory stamped A-arm, and that will give you an idea of which one is left and which one is right. So that is the next tip that we've got for you on that one. The last thing is you're gonna try to replicate a little bit of where you had your previous control arm, and that is easily done by looking in here. You're gonna see, let me move this out of the way. You're gonna see some witness marks here inside of the perch where the previous bushing was, where the previous upper control A-arm was. It's a little hard to tell on the eccentrics, but it's really easy to tell in here. It'll be polished. It'll look really like raw metal, be polished in here. And so if I scoot this guy up, you'll be able to see a little bit of those witness marks right here. Let's see if I can't get the light. Yeah, you'll be able to see the witness marks a lot better right there. So with that on, we're able to take a wrench and a socket and tighten these down. We're gonna get the grease gun out. We're gonna tighten and grease everything. So let's finish changing out the bump stops, and we'll get our drum back together with the upper ball joint and get this all tied up, and we'll go forward from there. Okay, a little bit of an update. We've got upper control arm, brake line, replacement brake line we stole off another car, don't tell nobody. Lower ball joint, new tie rod, cleaned up center link. We've got the new bump stop right here. It's a little dark in here, sorry. We've got our new front strut. It's a little dirty, that's all right. Everything's tied in. Replacement steering box, hoses, fluid in the reservoir. Speaking of which, we've got new pitman arm, new idler arm. Hopefully these are adjusted correctly. We believe they are. We'll find out when we put the car on the ground. Dave is wrestling with the upper control arm on the other side, which of course is a nightmare. And
it went right in.
It went right in? Then what are you fighting with?
Sorry.
Now you made me look bad. I thought I heard him cussing over there. Never mind. He's probably cussing me out. I don't know what your problem is, Kevin. This thing was a cinch.
Yeah.
Let the pros do it. Wah, wah. Okay, so where we are right now, we have finished assembling all of the firm feel equipment. We're just adjusting the brakes. We gotta wait for the shock. Shock shows up tomorrow, early parts run, and then we'll be able to drive it as long as our steering is adjusted right, we don't have any brake leaks, and we don't have any power steering leaks. That's old. That's from me disconnecting the lines. But oh, we need to put a Zerk in here. Yeah. We're not done yet. I thought we were done. And but final assembly. Everything looks really good. We haven't cleaned it off yet, but whatever. We just want to make sure it runs. Then we'll worry about making it look good. All right. With everything installed, finally in good shape, we're gonna eyeball a little bit on alignment, make sure our toe is set, make sure our ride height is the same. Just do a good enough to make sure that we can drive it without doing anything stupid.
Okay, what we're doing is we're just trying to get a rough toe setting. So what we've done is take a tape measure, we'll pick a spot on the back side of the tire and measure over to this side, and then we'll move to the front side, take the same measurement, and see what the difference is. Now your normal toe on these cars should be about an 1/8 inch in.
Okay.
So we are right now, we're about 3/4 out. So
Oh.
we gotta bring the fronts of the tires in towards the center of the car.
All right.
So just by using these adjustment rods on the tie rods, you can move your wheel whichever way you need it to go. Now we'll need to put the car back down on the ground, give it a bounce or a roll, and then we'll take another measure. All right, we've got the toe set close enough for an adjustment to get it to an alignment shop. It's close to being about an 1/8, so we should be pretty close to the factory toe in setting.
Great.
Good enough for us to take it down the road and see what kind of difference these new components made.
Great. Let's do it. All right. We got everything on Marsha from firm feel, upper control arms, new bump stops, new strut rods, new tie rods, lower control arm bushings. Oh boy, what else we put on? Oh, new steering box, new pitman arm and idler arm. We're gonna see how this tightens up the steering. We're also not gonna try to go too crazy in our left-hand turns because our brake lines are a little brittle and a little tight. So here we go. There goes the motor mouse. You can feel it. All right, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. It's tighter.
Oh yeah,
That's for sure.
I can see, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I could see the difference.
We are not gonna make that turn. I started too late. That's on me.
We don't want to turn that tight on the left-handers.
I know, I'm trying not to.
Yep.
There we go. I'm telling you, Dave.
It's an improvement.
I mean, body roll is body roll because we don't have sways.
Right.
But steering response, I'm not gonna lie, man. That's
It's much improved.
yeah. It doesn't feel so sloppy, which is great, and that's obviously the improved bushings.
Yep.
So we'll do one more.
Here we go, motor coming through the hood.
318. Come on, sweetheart. Here we go. Let's take out some mailboxes. I got all my parts rattling around in the back. Ah! Oh, sea bodies. So much more fun, right? Oh. It's been what, 3 days?
It's been 2.5 days.
2.5 days, sorry, I rounded up.
We got an early start the other day,
Yep.
which was good because we needed it.
We did need it, and I'll tell you, for my first foray into sea bodies, it's a love-hate relationship.
They're a little quirky. I'll say that.
Oh boy. Obviously, I have a lot to learn from the sea body guys. I think we're going to be hanging out on sea bodies only for a while, asking a bunch of dumb questions. But for the most part, I'm glad to be working again on Marsha. You've been making some really good progress and helping patch up a lot of rough panels. I know you're trying to straighten out the Queen Mary here. So God bless you and your efforts.
we'll make Marsha pretty again.
So big thanks to the guys at Firm Feel for hooking us up with their front end rebuild kit. Definitely could tell the difference. Very nice machined TIG weld parts.
Oh, top-notch stuff.
Yeah, really nice stuff, and big credit goes to them for even jumping into the sea bodies.
Yeah, it's a big market that needs some attention.
And the one thing we were talking about today is the best thing about sea bodies is that they came with 383s and 440s and big torque flights and 8 3/4 rears. So I really do think that sea body could be the next big avenue for people jumping into muscle cars, especially before they get into the Malaise era stuff. I would love to see more sea bodies getting attention.
Yeah, these cars have some good styling in them, especially in the late 60s, early 70s models. I mean, they still had some nice styling issues to them, and like you said, Available with big blocks ready to go.
Yeah.
So you've got the power, you can add the power to them, and you can still cruise in luxury.
And now you can go to firm feel and actually tie up the suspension, and it won't be garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Mopar Connection Magazine. We really got to thank Dave Chamberlain at All Classics Restoration for jumping in and being willing to even tackle something like this. He's been able to do a lot of update articles on the magazine itself. So if you want to read those, definitely go over to www.moparconnection.magazine. We've got updates on Marsha. We've got updates on other projects he's working on. Yeah. Additionally, you got to give him a sub over on his YouTube channel, because he's not just working on Mopars, he's working on all sorts of really cool stuff. Yeah. And he's roped his grandson into doing a lot of really cool things too.
Oh, yeah, he's my #1 employee, so I gotta keep him busy. Got to get him ready to take over the shop in a few.
There you go. Pay him in Hot Wheels for now.
And I pay him in Hot Wheels cars. He loves working for his cars, so.
Very cool.
And we'll have some videos out on Marsha coming up real soon on my YouTube channel, All Classics Restoration. So be sure and check that out, and you can see just how I went through the process of fixing some of the rust on it.
Very cool. Guys, thanks again. Make sure to check out Mopar Connection Magazine at www.moparconnection.magazine, where new articles are written and published every single day, Monday through Friday, entirely subscription free to you. I got to drive back to Nashville. We'll see you there. Not in Nashville, but on the magazine. We'll see you there.